Welcome everybody, my name is Michael and today we're discussing about AI being poisoned by designers, by artists, by poisoning. What do we mean? A lot of people are getting upset. Just as with YouTube, there's a lot of copyright infringement, and over the years, Google has certainly made better on their promise to protect artists and content creators and even companies. The problem is there's still a lot of it going on, and especially with AI right now, a lot of these programs, they're just scraping data from the internet. Millions and millions of data pieces, and it's happening at such a rapid rate that sometimes, yes, there's a lot of copyright infringement. These programs are taking millions of images from artists, and they're using it in a database. So if someone types in, for example, hey, I want to create in a generator a picture of a elephant going through a store. Well, it comes back with a different animal going outside, and it's something close, but not really. It's not a store. What happened? It was poison. A lot of artists are fighting back against AI right now. So if you typed in red, yellow, blue, you might get, the opposite, right? With that said, it's not just specific items. You type in a Ferrari, but if the Ferrari images database is poisoned, it not only impacts Ferraris, it impacts automobiles, it impacts all cars, racing, all of this. So essentially, these generators are using data that has been manipulated. These artists are fighting back using a program that, hey, if you're going to take my content, I will disrupt this content. So you won't see it, the human eye won't be able to see it, but the AI will use false data points. So some of these image generators are using data, whether it's from Adobe or Getty. Obviously, you've seen Getty images on Google so many times, where they're only using their own content. So they're good on copyright. But there's other image generators where they're using so much data where there's potentially a lot of infringement. And these artists are using a tool called Nightshade. Nightshade works by altering an image's pixel. So you won't be able to see it, but on the digital level, just like similar to, for example, on Photoshop, obviously you can't take $100 bill and do money laundering and be able to make counterfeit bills. It's not going to let you. It won't work. Just as is, cyber criminal police are working to trace where this photo was taken to arrest the subject. There's a lot of data behind that photo. You're not going to see it, but once you start clicking behind it, you see, okay, this is where the photo was created. This is what device created it. This is where it was printed from. And you're able to trace that criminal. There's a lot of data behind an image that even though you won't be able to see, a computer recognizes it. And if something is inputted incorrectly, the generator will start making unreliable generations, because if there's 100,000 of these artists that are suddenly inputting weird false data, you want to type in the blue sky turns red, and in comes a picture of an egg, or let's try this again, it didn't work, and hey, here's a Christmas photo or a watermelon, and it's just going weird. You realize, okay, well, it's been poisoned. And those are extreme examples, but a lot of people remember with the beginning of AI, you've probably seen this many times before, where it's very creepy, but there's this certain aspect where you generate humans and something's off, that they don't look human, whether it's instead of 5 fingers, you have 6 or 7 fingers, and it would be designed weirdly, or multiple eyes, or you have dogs with 6 feet and weird, 2 heads and stuff like that, where it's just merging, and the generator is trying its best. It's making it look all right, and 80-90% it looks all right, authentic, and then that 10% is just completely wrong. Something throws you off, and that's what Nightshade is doing. You're using this tool, which has been created. This developer really hopes that this tool will make big tech companies rethink and their strategies regarding copyright. They're able to adjust it. So yes, this developer is fighting for artist rights, but there's also the potential for abusing the tool Nightshade itself, and you're able to try and disrupt other AI services. Is there an antidote to this? The main antidote is, first of all, the AI generators, the developers behind the generators, whether it's image or writing generator, you have to realize this data is coming from somewhere. So if there's going to be audits, if you're able to check, hey, is this actually coming in where you have tests design? What's the plagiarism behind it? Kind of like when you're submitting for online school, it always tells you, hey, here's a plagiarism generator. This is where, if you have the same prompt or the same question, 1,000 other essays have that, right? But that's because everybody gets the same prompt. But then later to your actual content, your paragraphs, is it plagiarized? And if you took a sentence here, this is where there's a lot of programs out there where you're able to actually see, okay, if it's under 30% here and under 10% from a single source, it passes. Well, you can have audits performed, digital audits for content. You're able to do a test battery, a small, highly curated, and a well-labeled data set. This is using holdout data. It's never used for training. This data set can then be used to examine the model's accuracy. You have another tool called ensemble modeling. This is where different models are trained on many different subsets of data and compared to locate specific outliers. This approach can then be used not only for training, but also to detect and discard these suspected poison images. So you're able to use authentic data images again. And the big thing is really the designers, the developers of these tools have to be able to get their data in a way that doesn't hurt these content creators, these artists, these designers. The big thing is changing where this data is scraped from. But there's some who argue that the internet is free and every piece of data on the internet will always be there and you're able to do whatever you want with it. And obviously this is a very controversial point of view. A lot of people, especially human rights activists, are saying, what about photos of humans, of children, of people who don't want their content to be out there? You're able to take someone who's like a YouTube family and use their images, there's so much data there that you're able to use it for illicit or illegal purposes. And with that, you also have law enforcement and government agencies now that are using systems such as Clearview AI, where you have facial recognition. And a lot of government agencies are going for facial recognition where you take data points, maybe you were walking into a store, maybe you had a Facebook photo, your LinkedIn photo, a YouTube video, and they're going to try and find criminals, but they're also using it for who knows what. There's so much going on over there that a lot of activists are saying there's just too much of this. So in response to combating this, there's facial recognition systems where they're being fooled by sometimes very simple methods, nothing even related to technology, but you have makeup artists that showed by using weird patterns on their face or by using intrusive lines and weird, it was able to fool these systems where it wasn't able to recognize you. People would cover their faces in certain ways, especially during COVID with masks and other hats and whatnot. So if they were out in public, they wouldn't be able to be recognized. Now, obviously, you can't really hide forever, right? So the big thing is going into the legal aspects. You're going to have lawyers and civil rights activists fight for better, more innovative solutions that not only protect our rights of freedom, but also the same laws could be then applied for solutions to these data poisonings out there where you don't want copyrighted, it sucks. You have your content stolen. Someone else could be potentially monetizing that content. It is an intrusion on your rights. You are losing money from that. So there is a huge argument here where people are going from all sides, very controversial, but at the end of the day, we all want what's just. We all want the right thing. Now, there's no foolproof solution to it yet, but the big thing is it all has to start from the source. Who's creating the developers of these programs have to just adjust their data collection. And it's a big task. You're dealing with potentially billions of content pieces, but it all starts from the source. Anyways, that was that. Thanks for watching. You have a good one and take care and happy holidays soon.